Hello, this is ToracM, and I must say, my partner James is getting much better at this. I'd like to speak with you today about a day in the life of the average third dimensional being in your window of your linear time or in your space, in your spot. Close to ascension, not quite there, a lot farther than mankind has ever been. A day in the life of the average light worker, or not, just the average human being. You can be unhappy, you can be happy. You can wake up and be mad at the world every day. You can be happy to be alive. You can be whatever you choose to be. Now, those people who are angry every day and upset, it's easy for them to be that way. That's how they thrive. That's where they're in their vibration. Their vibration is to be upset, to gripe, complain, gossip, spread the negativity. But look around those people and see who their friends are. You might find that one special light worker that'll stick around long enough to shine their light around and get rid of some of that person's darkness. That person will hate it. That person will want that light worker to go. They may or may not have the gall to say so, but they will, through their actions, separate. If I'm walking through my day, and every day I encounter Phil at the grocery store that says how bad his wife is, and his kids, and his life, and his job. Every day I hear it, okay? Another person might say, I'm going to go to a different store, I just want to avoid that guy. Well, a light worker approaches it like this. You go in knowing full well the pattern you're about to experience. But what dictates the outcome, the ultimate means to an end of that pattern, is the way you choose to look upon it. In the double slit experiment, just the visual on, the frequency of a visual on something, eyes on a matter, changes it. So therefore, you know what you're going to experience. You've seen it. Now you're going to change it. So you amp it up slowly but surely, you're on your vibration, they can't bring you down every day. You're like, yeah, I'm sorry, man, that's not cool, but you know what, blah, 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 and I gotta run, okay, I'll talk to you, peace. Okay, so it's kind of like that, but then the light worker will spend a little more time, saying little things, subtle things, getting to the nature, the root cause, so to speak, of the issue, and with a smile on his face and never showing any remorse or I'm sorry for you or anything like that. It's kind of putting the ball into the negative person's court. They are then either going to say, well, I gotta run, or hey, get the hell out of here, or they will shut up for a little while, start to think. How can you bounce through life so happy and carefree and everything just happening for you on that path of you're there at the right time, right place, right time? That's synchronicity. You meet the right people for the right things at the right places at the right times. It just so happens to be there. It's the number alignment on the clock every day. It's the little things that tell you, say, hey, it's all of it. Once you get on the roller coaster, The vibration, frequency, love, light, truth, roller coaster. My children, I'm here to tell you it's a wild ride and it's a blast and it's so fun. The one thing is, now these people can live in their negativity every day. They thrive in it. That's their frequency. A light worker, an average light worker of your linear time period, finds those lows very destructive and hard. And they don't spend much time there. And therefore, slowly and slowly and slowly, you stay up, you stay up, you stay up. And pretty soon, if you stay up in your vibration frequency long enough and high enough, you will ascend. That is ascension. You can't help it. You end up knowing more than your physical body can handle. You have to become something more. Not greater, but more. If you build it, they will come. If you understand it, you will go. You will be there in your understanding. So, the negative person and the light worker. Let's get back to them. So the light worker shows up day after day, just rolling through and like, not to the beat of their own drum, but more like to the sound of pots and pans and nuts and bolts and pennies being thrown down a metal set of stairs in a big long echoey hallway. Okay? That's how a light worker rolls, with a smile on their face and happy to do it, and they know it's going to be like that, and the chaos of it brings what they need, and that's life, and that's the way James, my mouthpiece, my partner in this crime, ha ha ha, that's my joke. That's the way he lived it. He hit the ground running. As a baby, he wouldn't stop crying because he knew the difference from word go before he even knew the word. Okay, he rebelled against everything that was a lie. And it turned out he was right. He looks back now and he's pretty damn smart, and he gained a lot through the street smarts, the school smarts, the book smarts. He has read, he has done a little college. Through all of that, through everything combined, the coma he went through, some of the people he's met are one of a kind. I do have to say, in his 53 years of experience, he has met one or two people that the mold got broke on them. Their upbringing, their key factors that made them, the little quirks and personality traits and things, and even the negative parts, the lies and the manipulation and the covert narcissistic patterns. That is a hard thing to deal with. But when they're in their vibration, you see, Jeffrey Dahmer can eat human beings, and he was in vibration doing it, or he wouldn't have done it. It made him feel good. And that's neither here nor there. It's neither good nor bad. I mean, it's bad, yeah, but in the big scheme of things, death is just the opposite of birth, and it happens over and over again for those of us. And I mean you and me, and every other being in the universe. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to explain something to you at this moment. There are forces aligned against your new president who, because of their past and because of their willingness to say that this president would never get elected, and their willingness to know full-handedly that he would never get elected, and know full-handedly that the candidate they were supporting, the woman candidate, would be elected. They were so sure of this. Okay, in the quantum, it's happened. It's already happened. It's happening. It's always, never was, and everything's known. So we knew what was going to happen in linear time. We knew that he would beat out her and the people she had deep in her pockets and leveraged against, and, well, let's say it, beholden to blackmail if she had to, with those people kind of got really screwed over when this man won, this orange man, who was really a good man. Now, here's the thing. What do I keep saying to you? If it doesn't make logical sense, then there's something wrong with it. Now, this man who got elected by more than half of the people in your country, a lot of these people have never voted. They came out of the woodwork to vote for him. It was Reagan-esque. It had flavors of your 1980s linear time. Reagan laughs. Okay, I'm confusing James. Very much like this, but yet these people that were dug in so deep for the crooked one were left holding the bag, actually covering their nuts. Actually, they were left James wants to say the F word, but I told him that it's not allowed. So he left them pretty fudge-sickled. They didn't have really anywhere to turn for sake of from worst to best case scenario. Jail to giving a public apology. At any rate, it would have been bad. It would have been bad, bad, bad. James Comey, he had to act up and get fired in order to cover his ass. If he would have stayed at that job, he would have been backed into a corner so hard. Hillary would have leveraged him, played him against Trump through the FBI. It would have been bad. It would have been bad, 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 bad. I understand what most people look at James Comey from your time period now, October, fall, summer of 2017, and go, what? This doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense, really. And, a lot of people take it with a grain of salt. Okay, well, your earthly American politics don't make a lot of sense. Those politicians are weird. They'll love you one day, stab you in the back the other, blah, 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 blah. Well, it's different than that. This is one man, one human, third-dimensional being who played it so hard to one way. For sure he was going to win this hand. But then when the person he counted on winning didn't, he lost all the chips he threw in. And man, I'm telling you, it started with him and it continues down the line. And that's why you could say, look, Trump's walking on water. And a Democrat will say, yeah, but he can't swim. They can't let him succeed in anything. If they do, they're admitting that they were wrong. All that time they were saying it would never happen. All that time they were for sure about Hillary. All that time. And you know what? I'm here to tell you, my children are verse. The ones I've been watching for so long. You just got it wrong. Okay? It isn't about the core American values brought up and blah, 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 and how it's changing now and the millennials want stuff and welfare. It isn't about any of that. It's about doing what's right, doing what makes sense, working as hard as you can, and being the best kind of person you can. That right there will bring you to a point of love, light, and understanding where you will not be able to help it but ascend someday. But the government is having a blast. Some of them know of a ascension someday and blah, 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 blah. Some of them know this, but while they're here, they're in no hurry. They created the money and they got it all and they're having a blast at the expense of most of us. And, you know, I'm just here to tell you, are you in control or are you being controlled? Really? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Because James gave it up. He said, I'm no longer going to be controlled. I don't give up anymore. He was done. And, you know, he'd gone through his coma and his divorce and, just so much. His dad died. He had 23 years of just unhappiness to the point where it was making him ill every night. His story's bad. Maybe someday he'll give you all a speech. But he got to the point where, and that's why I said before, I was so attracted to him, because he was an open slate, just ready to be wrote with no momentum towards the negative way, just ready just to be positively written, and instant light worker shot up like a star. And I couldn't help but finding him as the one when I, in your time period, needed to start speaking. So it was kind of a good match. But at any rate, let's get back to the light worker and the negativity person. One way or another, the negative person is going to see how the bouncy person, happy-go-lucky, is just so happy. And they're either going to want that, or they're going to want to get away from it so they can continue being unhappy. Either way is good for them, because they're at a point where they're not going to ascend in this lifetime anyways. They will have to die of whatever causes and be born again if they choose to be. And then they will, possibly in that lifetime, but probably not. They're a couple lifetimes behind the people I'm speaking to now, the light workers, the strong ones, the ones like James. But they'll be on their path. They'll be out of their little churches, and they'll come in with an understanding of, don't listen to society, it's about control, they just want to use you. Unless you're one of them. So, okay, I've told you about what UFOs are. I've told you about the United States technology and how advanced it really is, and that what you're actually seeing is time ships. I told you about how we, the American government, went back and stacked the deck in their favor, therefore God blessed America, because we built the pyramids. We went back, we ascended from the skies in our time ships, looking like gods. Okay, we had control of time. So we went back 6 months, thinked it out, thought it through, from beginning to end, from Alpha to Omega. We wrote that down. We put scrolls in caves. We did all that, okay. The myths, the stories, the flood was real. We did cause that. We wanted man to have amnesia about the past, because it's top secret. We can't let Germany know we have time travel ability. They would know. We've been going back and fucking with their past forever. James says he's sorry for saying that word. He is new at this, and he is working on it. I'll talk with him later. So we did all this. We did it all. And we did everything it's coming to. We're in control. America. Yeah. It's the best case scenario. Somebody had to eventually, I mean, all that is out in the ether. Technology for everything. I mean, that's why I'm saying, for people to get in spaceships and travel a long ways and to get here and build pyramids for a reason that there's no logical motive to at all. There's way more logical motive for time travelers from the future to come back and do it than space aliens. And if they were that smart, they wouldn't need a spaceship. They'd be of the quantum, and they would be all things, all times, all places. It would be thought, done, perceived, real. Wrap your head around it, humans. Yeah, I know you can do it. It's hard. The more you think in these terms, the easier it gets. And you slip into the quantum. As I gaze into the mystic, one of your more awesome songs. At any rate, the moral of the story is either the negative person will start figuring out the light worker's position and start transferring themselves to that point so they can be a happier person, or affecting the change in their life that will help them to be a happier person. James has told me that through his 22 years of marriage, he never gave in. She was a narcissist. And I'm not here to help him complain about his ex-wife at all. I'm just saying a few facts here about what we're talking about. Okay, now, James had 22 years fighting constantly, but he wouldn't give in. And he kept a smile on his face while he wouldn't give in. And the kids, three kids, 2 of his stepchildren, 1 of his biological children, the youngest his. All successful now, by the way. Very much so. I did something right. I did something right by seeing the real James. He just hasn't had a lot of that in his life. There was questions. He's been on the list for a while, but events had to unfold before we made a complete decision about who our mouthpiece would be. The events unfolded to the point where James was the obvious one. Plus, he was racing to the top of the light worker status like a rocket. You couldn't help but notice him. He was like a wizard walking through your earth. He can affect change to the point where he hides it. He walks around like nobody with nothing to say, because, man, whatever he wants, he gets. What he needs, he has. The definition of abundance is being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. You know, it's not like I want to fly to the moon right now, but I want mankind to be able to do it someday, just, you know, for sport. While they're physical, it'll be fun. In the quantum, you would have already been there, and it'd be no big deal. The car's already in your garage. You already know what it feels like, so there's no excitement when you do get it. 12 seconds, children. Don't ponder on a thought or a need or a wish for more than 12 seconds. Put it out there with grace and love, and get into the movie. Start talking to your dog. Change something. Take a drink of orange juice. Play your guitar. Anything that, because of more than 12 seconds and you're pondering on it. Out of tune. When you ponder on a subject, you've lost it. The battle's lost. Whatever you're going to get is what you were pondering. Okay, you wanted that new car, but you keep pondering this in your head. I'm never going to get it because I just don't think I'm worth it, or I don't think they're going to qualify me, or this or that, or one reason or another. Well, you've pondered on it for that to that point. So what are you going to get more of? You're going to get more of, well, you're not going to get that car because of this, one reason or another, always, forever, until you change your mindset, the way you're thinking, the way you're putting out to it, to the universe, what you're receiving back. You're going to get that. Here's how you do it. Man, I love my new Camaro. Sitting out in the driveway right now. It's awesome. It's the Super Sport, dude. So cool. I just can't believe I got it. I can go get it right now. Keys in my pocket. I can say that with chills down my spine because I know if I was in your third dimensional world, that would appear right now out there. Boom. Call on the quantum, it would deliver. For me, as an ascended being, that would come down and just, for sport, give you an example, I guess. But now James, perhaps. He ended up in that tweaker house I was telling you about, where he got the microwave and he realized about the laws of attraction, and all of a sudden he was such a blank slate coming out of his coma with brain damage that he was affecting change hard, big time, fast, and he couldn't believe it. And the signs and the clock alignment and the everything was just was ghosting him, and it was like omens everywhere. He was seeing the omens and feeling this, the feelings of the other side, the veil thinning quick, because it hadn't came all the way back for him yet. He was still walking with us. But James moved to Ramona from there. From Lakeside, California to Ramona, California. 20 miles away, up a steep hill, a highway. Ramona is a nice little town. But James, being the partially trained by society human being that he is, assumed that there would be a little bit of a bus route around Ramona. And that being the case, the driveway where he lived on 10 acres would have been a major bus stop. It was where all the mailboxes were for people on this side. I mean, there was probably 40 mailboxes there, or there was a school bus stop. It would have been, there would have been, but no, Ramona had no buses, and except for the ones that take you to the casino. I'll let that go. So James finds himself living with another female, one much like his ex-wife in nastiness, darkness, but a whole different animal altogether, one that he and he thought he'd seen it all and could handle anything and blah, 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 blah. Gone through his coma, he's not afraid of anything anymore, and it really isn't. Anyway, once you've gone through what he's gone through, nothing will scare you. Nothing. When he woke up, he had lung tubes, tracheotomy, thing in his penis. He had things attached to him from every direction, everywhere that you can imagine. He couldn't move this way for that way and that way for this way. They said he couldn't get up and walk. He just woke up. He'd been asleep for this long. He said, no way. As soon as the nurses left, he tried to get up, fell down, set off all the alarms. Okay, that's James. You can't stop him. He's a force. He was home 2 weeks after he woke up, and they said he'd be there for 2 months recuperating. James said, I'll get more physical therapy getting up and letting my dogs in and out and being with, my animals and at my house comfortable and blah, 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 than I will here. I said, I want to go home. James is losing it a little bit. So I'm going to wrap this up real quick here. James said he wanted to go home. He was home in 2 weeks. When 3 weeks before that, there was people who took the weekend off and thought James would be dead when they came back. But James is a rock star. He was as alive and kicking. The whole time he was in his coma, he was fighting. They had to keep him strapped down. Since he heard the words in his ear that his sister does admit to whispering at one point during his coma. Now, granted, his sister is a lover, not a fighter, and never say these words. So for him to hear them, especially where he was at, out of the blue, out into the nowhere, and not see her, struck him as very odd. And she said, Jimmy, they call him Jimmy, you have to fight. You have to fight like you've never fought for anything, because you are fighting for your life, and you are in such a bad way, you do not know. You have to live. And at that point, there's other things going on in James. His ex-wife, who had been cheating on him and coming back, doing whatever, shows up with his youngest biological daughter, who she's been trotting around in Missouri and all around the country, doing God knows what. And from what I understand, from all of my quantum understanding, the wife of my Mr. James, my partner, wanted to have the plug pulled on him. And his mother, the mother of James, got in a physical altercation in the hallway with his wife over this matter. Now, the wife had legal jurisdiction, but the mom wasn't going to have it. Mom saved James's life. That was one of the turning points that pushed him up another notch on the list as far as speakers we were looking at. But he's going to have to work on his stamina. James has been through some stuff. He woke up after she said that. He looked around, and he was in the valley of the shadow of his death at that point, basically. Whatever some darkness was closing in around him, and he was scared. He was a victim. It's like when you're in a nightmare and you can't wake up, and you can't scream, you can't holler, you're the victim. You can't help yourself at all. You're just being chased by the devil, and he's always going to catch you. So that was the turning point. He heard that, he looked around, he realized where he was, that he's hearing a sister from somewhere else, and she's saying, you need to fight? Oh, now he's mad. Whatever's closing in on him is about to be sorry. He doubles up his fist, and he's in a white room. It was like, from what I understand, he has said to me, he was in a white room. No, he was outside of this white room, where there was millions of tables, people having lovely conversations, nice and gentle and softly, nobody arguing at all, just gentle, everlasting niceness. You know, they had lemonade, but there was no waiters. And it was just, and I'm frolicking around because I realized, see, he's slipping again. There's James slipping. He's here. He's not doing the channel right. It's because he's tired. It takes its toll on you. But he's working on it. James has relayed this story to me. He was there, he was frolicking around, he was having a blast, he felt like he was back home. It's great, fine, done, you know, didn't even remember all that other crap. Well, then he was sucked into the room that he could see. It looked like a nice, really nice contractor's trailer at a construction site, in the middle of a marble white floor with millions of tables of nicely dressed people having millions of nicely pleasant conversations and drinking whatever they were drinking, and that was it. Nobody was walking around. Everybody was sitting and just talking and just nice. Then he got sucked into the White Room, where there was one voice above all the other voices. Not more in volume, but more in stature. Well, there's no stature in the quantum, which is source. It's like the guy that's been elected to speak for the decisions being made, and that's when he speaks, you need to listen. So, and it was just very gentle and calming. And so we're in this White Room. Not standing, not sitting, because there's no legs or whatever. It's just you're there. And here's how the conversation went. James, we know you've been having a great time being home, but you got to go back. What? Why? No. He got down on his knees now, which he didn't have a minute ago, and cried. Why? Because he knew there was no arguing against it, and it was that it didn't matter why, but and it was accepted immediately. But that's why he instantly cried. But this figure said, not figure, it wasn't a figure, it was an entity, said, because you fought to live. When your sister said you need to fight, your mom was out in the hallway fighting, and you need to wake up before that she can pull that plug on you. And I guess all that was said, but all James remembers hearing was, you got to fight. You don't know what's going on. There's things happening in bad ways here. You need to fight to live and wake up. And that's what changed everything at that moment. He decided whatever was creeping up, the darkness around him, the demons, whatever, he was about to bust him in the jaw. Whatever. He was going to get down on some supernatural stuff. At least the way society trained him led him to that vision of the way he was dealing with the in-between time when he was fluctuating. And there's really nowhere for him to go yet, because see, 200 years ago he would have just died. But 200 years ago they barely made a motorcycle. So that's what he got hurt on. So at any rate, 200 years ago they wouldn't have had the technology that saved his life. I'll tell you about that another time. This roto-prone bed, Dorbits, keeps stuff from settling in your lungs and sucks it out. Your lung tubes put in through your ribs. Yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, going on. So 200 years ago you would have just died. Now they fight to save your life, and they'll either put you in a coma or you go into a coma while they try to save you. And in that time you're in kind of not limbo, because limbo is the first stage of hell according to your legends, but you're in a state of flux, and you don't know where to go, and if you have a logical mind you don't know what's going on, and it drives you kind of crazy, and you end up in a situation where James found himself. He found himself in what the only thing he could relate to was the valley, the pretext to him dying if he didn't figure something out, the valley of the shadow of his death. And he was about to go, and he did for a minute. And that's right when his sister said, you've got to fight, you got to fight. Makes me cry even just having him talk about it, because I can feel his emotions. At any rate, that's what changed everything for him. He fought to live, and now he's fighting for you. So, give Mr. James a break, as he will get better. Get better at channeling me. He will get better at channeling ToracM. We'll see. Oh, force and bring your numbers, co-create. Get together, shining your lights bright. Into every corner where darkness resides. Bright woodcutter, we love you. We love all the children. We've been watching. So stay in vibration. Keep your frequency matched, at least. If you want it, you get it, just see. You will affect that change wherever you go. You shine light, plant the seed and let it grow. You see the beauty in the nature and the stars. You won't let the negativity make its own laws. Oh, light will go. We love you so. Oh, light will go. Oh, light will go. We love you so. You will be the next ones. And the quantum will know. Oh, light workers, shine your lights. Light workers, co-creating numbers from the darkest corners of your world. Get rid of the dark, get rid of the negative influences. Get rid of the dark, in the shadows, where evil resides, wherever you want to call it. Because darkness is just the absence of light, and light is not the absence of darkness. The default setting is light. When the default is gone, it's dark. So whoever's in charge of changing the light bulbs, you're fired because there is too much darkness. You're not really fired. You're still up. I'm sure you're just part of flashing light, and your light worker, fine old light worker. We love you, light worker. We Co-create in your slumbers. Co-create in your numbers. For the children coming through now are pre-wired. Their veil is thinning. Mankind's amnesia is going away. Light worker, we love you. Oh, light worker, shine your light so true. The truth will set all of you free. ToracM speaks the truth through James. You'll see. Hi everybody. Am I still on? Yes I am. Where's my glasses? I can't see anything. Please. We've talked about that deal. What's going on? This is James. I feel like I'm in a sleep. How long was he talking? Anyways, I don't know. I'll have to look at the video. I know I played the guitar at some point. Okay. You all have a great night. Blessed day. Love and light. We'll see you all next time.